It's the Two Gems Podcast.
Plug your mic cord in.
Yeah, it doesn't work. Matt. Really? The sound of the bag opening?
No, this is a bad idea.
Oh, wait. Matt. How are
Hi.
you?
I'm
I
great.
feel like we haven't been on here in so long.
It's been way too long.
Dust the cobwebs off the table.
It's been hurting our relationship, if I'm being honest with you.
You seem to say that.
I think the show is the best thing we have in our life.
In our life?
Yeah.
We got a lot of good things.
I'm
done.
exaggerating, but barely.
Okay. Well, you are a known exaggerator. So we haven't been on here in what, like 3-4 weeks?
It's been a
More than that.
It's been a very long time.
Okay. First of all, happy anniversary.
It's our 9-year anniversary. Mm-hmm. Not since we started talking, though.
No, we started
We
talking
have
in
a
February.
confusing anniversary.
No, we don't. You don't label an anniversary the
Jeez, you're
second you
some
start
feisty on our
talking.
anniversary over there.
No, I was just going to say that's our, like, I made you ask me to be your girlfriend anniversary date. And then...
That's
and
a true story.
It's
That actually
obviously important. I have a tattoo of it on my arm, Matt.
Yeah.
4/4/14.
I have it on my leg.
Oh, yeah. I actually forgot we did that together. Okay, so it's obviously an important date. Here we are 9 years later. Cheers, hon.
We cheersing?
Yeah, let's do it.
Cheers, baby.
You have to look me in the eyes. There you go.
There we are. Your dad actually taught me that.
Did he? Mm-hmm. So we've been up to a lot in the past month.
There's so much stuff to talk about.
I know.
What angle are we taking here?
Let's just talk it all out. The last episode, even, I think we had also been sort of off the map, even leading up to that. Like, we've kind of just been a little wishy-washy.
We've been sucking.
Yeah, and Matt, this really bothers Matt a lot. Consistency is important to him, so I know he's shed a couple tears over it, but we've had...
Just weeping in bed.
We've had a lot going on, and we're excited to be back. I think we could say we're back. I mean, we'll talk about Lloyd in a sec, but Lloyd is our new English bulldog puppy, and at the moment he is napping, so we should have a little window. And I think as long as we can get Lloyd to sleep over the next couple of weeks, we'll have these windows to do these episodes.
Was that your podcast introduction to Lloyd? That's it? Just boom, we have a dog?
No,
Because that happened in the midst of...
I definitely want to talk about Lloyd because he's
Okay.
obviously one of the biggest things that's happened in the last little bit.
Yeah, it's...
And then I certainly want to talk about Dominican and our trip because we didn't even get a chance to talk about that.
Yeah.
And that was really fun. If we can even remember it. Feels like it was a lifetime ago now.
Oh, I know. If we would have recorded either in Dominican or like the day we got home, I would have had a whole lot to say about a lot of things. I was like very emotional coming out of that trip. In the trip and coming out of the trip.
Emotional?
Yeah, don't you remember I was all like emo about society and everything?
Oh, yes. I absolutely do. Because Matt and I, so...
Okay,
we'll
is this the beginning of trip
let-
talk?
Yeah, so let's talk about
Or
Dominican.
do you want to talk about the weather for a minute?
You want to talk about the weather?
Oh, I don't know. Just
No,
like things relevant to today.
Absolutely
no?
not.
Okay.
So let's talk about our trip, and then we'll talk about Lloyd and a couple things in between. And honestly, we'll probably blabber on for an hour just with that, don't you think? What is so funny to you already? Okay. All right. So I'm going to break it down. So I think it's been a month now since we went away. Matt, what would you like to say?
Are you going to start at the airport?
Yeah, we'll start right from the beginning. So
Oh, my God.
Matt and I decided last year that we were going to go away once a year, get away, remind each other how much we love each other, that it's fun to spend time together because, as you know, if you are a parent, Matt, I think you can hold it in or like throw some put some on the table.
Yeah.
You have it on your sweater. Oh, my gosh. Okay. Just put some on the table, hon.
No, I'm not going to eat them all up, so I just need a bite.
Okay. So anyway, and now I lost my train of thought 'cause you're too busy eating the damn munchies.
Away, fell in love.
Yes.
All that.
We decided last year after going away that we were going to make it a routine thing to go away once a year just to kind of, we're fortunate enough that we can do that and kind of go back and remember why we have this family and these beautiful kids and Lloyd now and this home and all this and where it all started from, as in you and I. You okay? Like, are you on drugs
No, I'm
over
just
there?
taking it all in.
Okay.
I just love hearing you talk about our love because it happens once a week on our show.
Oh my. Anyways.
Oh my.
So I did my research, and Matt liked our resort a lot last year. He is a creature of habit. So, of course, he's like, well, let's just go back to the same one. I'm like, Matt, there's thousands of resorts. Let's try something new. And I think you're glad we did because you really liked the resort.
Yeah, I honestly, now that I've been to the new one, I barely remember Live Aqua. It's like, it's kind of like the recency bias thing. I don't know. I did really enjoy the new one a lot.
Yeah.
I probably enjoyed the layout of the room more. I like the balcony a lot.
Yeah.
The hot tub thing that was on the balcony with the little glass cubicle thing.
That's literally a sex room, guys. Like, I'm telling you, when I walked in, I'm like, oh, this is the sex room. So basically there was every balcony had a tub, but it had blinds, so you could lower the blinds and also like look out onto your balcony. So I'm like, they obviously made this for people to bang. Yeah. Like, there's no other reason.
What resort were we at? Excellence El Carmen.
We went to
in
Excellence.
Punta Cana.
That's right. And Excellence is a chain. They're also like sister companies with Finest, which was right beside us and was a kid-friendly resort.
Yeah.
So we went to the adult only, which I do not regret. That was our vacation to get away from children. I love all children, but A, I thought I'd miss mine if I saw other kids, and B, I don't need to be around children for a week. We're around kids every second of the day. And yeah, you're right. Like, I mean, they were very similar to Live Aqua, like the modern vibe of it. It didn't feel so much like tropical, like some other resorts that you see that are like very tropical, windy kind of design. This was like very modern design. But it was beautiful, and the food was good, and we had an amazing time. And Matt's talking about the airport because, so from what I remember, go ahead.
It was a snowstorm.
Yes.
It was a giant snowstorm.
Right.
That's what happened.
So we didn't even know if we were going to get out because we were all excited, and it was working out perfectly that the kids were going to be gone, so we could kind of just leave. And then so my mom and Matt's mom were watching the kids, and it would have been perfect. They knew we were leaving. They would have picked them up at the bottom of the bus stop. All would have been well. And then we get a text, or I get a text, because I think I was logged into it. And it said, your flight's delayed until like 8 p.m. or something, right?
Yeah, it was pushed back 4 hours, I think.
And I was like, oh, shit. And then we were thinking, are we even going to get out tonight? Because it was crazy. Of course, the one day we're leaving, right? So I said to Matt, I'm like, well, let's just go. We're on vacation anyway, right? Like, our vacation is starting. So let's go. And if worse comes to worse, we'll sleep at the hotel in the airport. Like, it's still a vacation.
Yeah.
So we went to Jack Astor's first and hung out with Daphne, and then we get to the airport, go through security. That was really
oh
easy.
My God.
Actually,
we were through there in like 40 seconds. It was crazy.
And then Daphne had suggested, because her dad had these like Air Canada lounge passes for guests. So I'm like, Matt, let's go up there. And you had been in there before, right?
Yeah, Tim and I were in there before, yeah.
To that specific one.
No, I think it was in Toronto, actually, come to think of it. I think we were in the Toronto one.
Okay, so we get up there, and of course, when you go up into the lounge, it's like a whole different world, right? You get up there, and there's free drinks and free food, and everyone's just like hanging
lazy boys
out.
And stuff. Yeah.
Feeling very fancy. And Matt and I don't actually own, like, we're not a part of this club, but we sure felt
this
like
elite club, yeah.
Yeah, so we felt very superior. And anyway, we were there for quite a while because our flight was delayed. And it did go. We knew it was going. There was no crazy changes, but we were in that like
for probably like 2.5 hours or something.
Yeah, so we're drinking, we're really living, and then I think I must have been a little tipsy because I needed some chocolate and candy.
Oh yeah, no, you were tipsy for sure.
And they didn't have any down there, like in there. So I was like, Matt, I'm going down. Like, I'm going down to the regular folk down below.
No, you were getting all antsy. You couldn't sit there anymore. Your legs were shaking, and you were like, I just want to go down and like.
Well, I did. I wanted to because at that point there was not a single person in the lounge. So I was like, is anything even happening? So I wanted to be around civilization and make sure there was a flight going. So I get down there and I'm texting Matt and I'm like, oh my God, what was I thinking?
yeah.
Bring me back up. So I'm down there and I have my headphones on, and I can't actually hear
No, and you
anyone.
won't leave me alone. I'm up there trying to enjoy the boss moves up in the lounge, and you won't leave me alone. You'll just text me, "What are you doing? What are you doing?"
Yeah, I'm like, come down,
What are you
come
doing?"
down,
No,
come down.
I'm like, leave me alone. I'm just enjoying my life up here in the lounge.
And it was chaos down there because it was a full flight. There was kids like whipping each other with things, and I'm just sitting there like, damn, why am I down here?
No, and yeah, you're down there like dealing with all that bullshit.
Yeah.
And then I'm up in the lounge with a fresh bottle of red wine. I swear to God, I drank almost a whole bottle of red wine. Just sitting there by myself up in the whole thing.
It was very funny. So then Matt comes strutting down. He's like, why am I down here?
So I come down with this whole attitude.
Yeah.
Like, why am I down here? These peasants.
Yeah, I don't belong.
Comes down with a monocle. The monocle.
Oh my God, that was so funny. And the best part was, like, we don't even have a damn pass. Like, it was a guest pass. And we're like, pa to these people.
Yeah, it comes down in a top hat and a monocle.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
a whole different
Just comes down a new person. So that
we're
was
like
the start.
gator loafers. Like.
That was the start. Then we got on the flight. And did you sleep? I feel like you did because you drank.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe for a little bit.
And that was fine. We got there, and by the time we actually got into our room, checked in, it was 4:30 a.m. And I looked at Matt, and I'm like, do we just stay awake? Because usually we're up by like 5:36 with the kids. But we managed to fall asleep for a couple hours.
Yeah, we rolled in there at 4:30 in the morning.
When I looked at the clock, like, and it was bedtime, I'm like, oh my God, it's 4:30. What are we going to do?
It's crazy. And about the airplane for a sec,
Mm-hmm.
if there's anyone listening that doesn't own AirPods with the noise canceling,
Yeah.
and you travel a lot, you need to get them just for the airplane.
If you could afford them.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
They're amazing. Like, even if you don't even
Like a squirrel here with my nuts.
even if you don't even put music on, you can just put them in your ear and put them on the noise canceling mode. You don't even realize how much white noise is on an airplane until you hit the canceling thing, and then it like suctions and you're in this little like silent vortex, and then you pull it out and it's like you get an instant migraine when you realize how much noise is in an airplane.
So I actually left them on the whole flight because I was reading, and you're totally right. And they take away so much. Like, what the Apple AirPods are wild, and also kind of dangerous when you're walking outside and like you can't hear a car going by.
Well, no, so for that they have there's another setting. It's like noise canceling, but like allow some stuff through or something. It lets like horns through and shit. It's like the second option over.
Okay.
Yeah.
So anyway, that was great. We got in, and then I mean, we were kind of a write off the next day, but like, who cares? We were on vacation. And then you just kind of get right into it and do absolutely nothing for a whole week, which is exactly what we did.
Yeah.
Except for the day that we went out.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Matt loves to explore. And I
Big
think,
exploring guy.
Yeah, and I think this year, last year we were absolutely exhausted from the kids. So like that week was just like, but I think this year maybe you had a couple more ants in your pants and like.
Oh, for sure. I was like, I hate to say this, but I was kind of like getting over it.
I
Like
certainly
pretty
was
quick.
not.
Like there's only so long I can sit there and do nothing.
Right. I'm the opposite. I could happily sit there and do nothing for even. I feel like 7 days isn't enough. I could do it for 10.
I feel like you could do it your whole life. I think because you've said that before. You're like an island girl. You could like just do that
lounge
thing.
around, yeah.
Not me. I'm a hustler, baby.
Yeah, we're
No, I just
drifting
want to like get doing shit. And that's not to say like I'm sitting there the whole time like we got to do something. Like I read 2 books. I laid down. I did all that shit. I tanned, swimming lots and stuff. But like I want to get out and see what the heck this island is all about. So we rented the car and just like winged it. We just winged it. We just drove around Dominican for like 9 hours or something and saw like so much cool stuff.
Yeah, so we left at 6:30 in the morning. Basically, I just like Matt had mentioned he wanted to go out. I know there's excursions that happen and those are great, but I find that they're very
I'm not a fan.
they're very well, they're great for some people, but they're very rigid. They have a certain plan.
That's the exact word I was going to use.
Yeah, and we don't love that. So instead, I just Googled like car rental because Matt, I think you were sitting on the balcony. You're like, I just want to go off the resort. So I just Googled it and I was like, here, look, we can get this car. And it seems pretty straightforward. And there was a bit of a language barrier, but it was pretty straightforward. And he picked us up at 6:30 with the car and we just went off. And we went off from 6:30.
Picked us up Sorry, he came and dropped the car off.
Yeah, and then he got picked up by somebody else.
Yeah.
So we had the car, and we were.
It was
out.
a Mustang. That was cool.
Yeah. So we
got the upgrade.
We were out from 6:30 until 6 p.m.
Yeah. Yeah, it was
Exploring.
like 12 hours.
Uh-huh.
So we're going to talk about that?
Yeah,
it was wild.
absolutely.
Like so basically like this could be a huge rant. This is the thing that really like opened my eyes up, okay?
Mm-hmm.
So it's gonna make it sound like I hate the place, but look, here's the thing: you go to these islands, on these resorts, and like they literally have giant steel gates. Like for anyone that's never been to one of these things, like you go inside and they have like they're like compounds. They have walls that no one could ever climb over. They have giant steel doors at the front. There's like armed guards and stuff, and they like protect these areas so that like no like random civilians can get into them, so that all these people that come on these trips can just kind of like get corralled into these things, and like you can't get out without all that procedure before they open the door for you, and no one can get in without all the procedure as well.
Can I just say something quick?
Yeah.
I actually remember this a lot when I was a kid because we went traveling every March break, and I remember so often you would get on the bus, you would drive, and you would kind of look around, and then you'd get put right into your resort, and you wouldn't see anything again for a week. And I remember always thinking, like, what is out there?
Yeah.
Like, and you know, we spoke to one of the guys on the last day, and he's like, you're doing, I forget what he said, but he was like, that's the right way to do it.
Yeah.
Like, you don't experience Dominican by just coming and closing the door and being inside of a resort.
You don't experience anything about the culture there.
Right. Sorry,
it's nothing. It's just a nice beach that you sit on. You don't understand the culture at all there. Mm-hmm. And like, I don't know, you're kind of like siloed into this place.
Right.
And so I don't know, for me, like my thing in all of my travels everywhere that I've ever been has always been like not too formulaic. I like just kind of going with the wind and just kind of seeing the places that Google doesn't really recommend going to. It's like they're not like all the 5-star, you got to see this, this, and this. It's usually like, oh my God, like on Google Earth, that area looks cool. Let's go see what that is. Or like, man, look at the pictures people were taking down there. That's cool. Mm-hmm. And so the one thing that we saw is that there was like almost like an Insta famous spot. It was one of those spots where they had the swing that like goes way out over the cliffs and everything. And then we noticed that was en route to a place called Misha's. And so Sheridan and I, like, this is like 6 o'clock in the morning. I'm in the shower Googling like, okay, let's get a little bit of a route together here. Saw this swing, and that was all we really knew we were doing. We were like, let's go to the swing. And then we'll figure the rest of our day out. And we kind of knew we'd cut down through the mountains. So Sharon and I, like, we're living our absolute best life. Like, we've got the Caribbean friggin' hip hop playing. We got the roof down in the car. We're bombing along. And then Sharon's like, and you can kind of see the mountain as we're approaching. It's like, that's got to be it. It's like the highest one. So we pull up to the bottom of this thing, and there's like a guy in a truck. He's in like this little like Mazda truck thing, and he's like, and Sheridan's like, hey, so let me back up a little bit. We thought we were just going to drive the Mustang up the hill. We were like, yeah, I was kind of against getting out of the Mustang. I was like, I just want to stay in the car. We'll just roam around. Right. And Sharon's like, no, we got to like get this guy to take us up. So anyway, we ended up paying the guy $30 to bring us up to bring us up the mountain. And like, I swear to God, like the angle that we were driving up, going up this thing, like if 90 degrees is straight up, then it was probably like an 82 degree angle. Like, that truck was like, I wanted to take a picture of you, and I couldn't take a picture of you because I couldn't take my hands off the railings in the back, or I would fall out of the truck.
But how much fun was I having?
You're over there like,
yeah. Matt's like, oh my God. So he meant 36 pesos, but we didn't realize that until we came down. And we're actually, when I went to go pay him, like, I'm pretty sure the guy said to his friend, oh man, they gave us $36 US.
No, I heard him. I actually heard him say pesos, but he kind of said it under his breath. So we basically gave the guy enough money to buy a freaking yacht. But
yeah, so instead of $2 US, we gave him $40 US. So he was really living. And he was pumped because it was just a drive up and a drive down for him. And that was a lot of fun. And
it was cool.
That was really cool. I got on the swing. I was swinging up and down, and like, what a beautiful view. And again, something we wouldn't have seen just being at the resort.
Yeah, you
right?
definitely would have. Yeah. Because here's the thing. Everybody goes to Punta Cana. Like, if you go to Dominican, that's where you go.
Not necessarily, but yes.
Well, mostly.
Yeah.
Who the hell, do you even know another spot?
Yeah, I do, actually. Kamiko just went there last year. I don't know what it's called.
Ah, there you go. Okay, you don't even know.
Well, now we know a lot. We just went to
everybody knows Punta Cana. That's like the thing.
Yeah.
You don't even know any other thing there.
La Romana.
Okay.
Niches. Heyyy. Thank you very much.
Wow, look at you, Heyyy. No, so here's the thing though. When you go to Punta Cana, which everybody does that goes to Dominican, all you see from the resorts in the background are these mountains, but you don't know what they are.
Right.
Like, it's just like, wow, those mountains look cool. I wonder how awesome they are.
Yeah.
We went over to the mountains and to the exact top.
Yeah.
And it was freaking crazy.
It was.
So you were up there doing your swinging thing and we were up there on that look off. That was one of the craziest things in my life, looking out off that. Holy shit. Let's put some pictures up. Well, like while we're talking right now, we'll throw a few pics up.
Yeah.
It was crazy. And then this is where the trip got wild, I think, in my mind.
Yeah.
We got back. So then we went back down the mountain, which was absolutely ridiculous. Like, if you could see this guy, like, you know, like if you've ever seen like pictures in like National Geographic magazines and stuff where they're like driving the trucks along the edges of these mountains, and it's like if you go 1 foot to the right, you're rolling to your death down the side.
Yeah.
Like, it was like almost like one of those. I'm exaggerating a little, like it was probably like 2.5 feet and you'd die, but it was crazy.
It was
crazy coming down. So we get back down, get back in the Mustang, back to the good life, get the tunes pumping, and head down to this place called Misha's.
Yeah.
And we pull in there, and I don't really know like what I was expecting, but it was something.
Well,
it was crazy.
Although, to be fair, when we asked like one of the people that worked there, and we kept saying we went to Misha's, it was very mixed reviews. One person said like, "Oh yeah, it's fine there," like absolutely, and then somebody else was like, "Oh my god, you went to Misha's?" Like, it was very kind of so like, who really knows? Because we were only in there for like 5 minutes, and then Matt and I. So on the way to the swing, we just took the highway like up to that little area, so we didn't see anything really, and we could have taken the highway over to La Romana, but we chose to go through Misha's and then go through the mountains, which was an insane ride within itself.
Oh yeah.
But I think like anywhere, when you're unfamiliar with places and you don't know where you're going and you don't speak the language and you don't, you know, you're just unfamiliar, it can always kind of feel a little bit like, oh my god, where are we, right?
Yeah.
So, you know, I think we just kind of rolled in there and it just kind of felt like, oh, maybe we should get out of here.
Well,
but again, some people were like, no, Misha's is completely safe. But you know, you Google stuff, and I was actually Googling while we were driving because we had paid extra to get the Wi-Fi so we could see where we were going. And I was typing in like, is Misha's safe? Is it safe to travel outside of like your resort in Dominican? And there was very different, again, staggering reviews. Some people were like, absolutely not, unless you go with somebody that lives in the area to help you out. Other people said, yeah, sure, it's fine. Like, you know?
Well, like let's be honest here.
Sure.
Between leaving Punta Cana and getting back to Punta Cana, we were the only white people all day.
Right.
And we were driving around in a convertible Mustang, and like everybody was looking at us.
Right.
Like when we pulled into Misha's, every single person was looking at us.
But again, who's to say that it was because I think they're just like, who are you?
Well, no. So
what are you doing here?
So basically, in the research that I did later on that day when we got back, I started just like Googling like where the hell we went because. Yeah, it's funny. I almost do the reverse. Instead of Googling and looking at things before, I usually go and then start learning about it.
Right.
And what they were saying is like, so when you're driving around, like I would say, 9 out of 10 vehicles is probably like a moped or a motorcycle. And so we pull into Misha's and we're instantly surrounded by motorcycles and mopeds and stuff all around us, like hundreds of them all around you. Like they could literally reach over and tickle your ear. Like they're literally that close to you when you're driving.
Yeah.
And there's no stop signs and there's no red lights. There's no lights. There's no stop signs. You just kind of just go and you just kind of hope you don't crash. And so like everybody's looking at us. There's motorcycle, like I can smell his breath. Like there's people here and here and all around us. And I guess what they'll do is they'll see opportunities like that if you're in a convertible or something to reach over, grab your purse, take it and leave. And you could never, who are you going to call? How are you getting that back?
Absolutely.
Never and nothing. So yeah, I mean, it was just an interesting vibe for sure. Like when we were going through there, I wanted so bad to get out and take pictures, but then at the same time, I just remember hearing like, careful if you're going out and like carrying expensive camera gear and cell phones and stuff like that, because, and I'll get into this in a minute when we finish this piece of the conversation up, but like, man, like the poverty there, like they don't have those things. You know, stereotyping a little bit, but I mean, like, you didn't see a bunch of people walking around on cell phones with like, you know, nice jewelry on and Apple watches and all that kind of shit. You know, like what they would do to get their hands on something like that could feed their family for years. You know what I mean? So we went through Misha's. That was wild. Like I got really overwhelmed driving through there because like, yeah, no stop signs, no lights, don't know where I'm going. It was just really overwhelming. And I was like, Sheridan, just get us on the nearest path out of this place.
I did it so quickly too.
Oh yeah, you were on fire.
I was like, go this way, and then we headed right up to the mountain.
Yeah. So then we went through this like windy mountain ride, and like basically what it did is it brought us from the northernmost part of Dominican Republic, mostly northernmost, to the southernmost. Like basically we're going from a city at the north to a city on the south. So we cut through the entire island of Dominican, the whole country. We went from top to bottom. And
did that not bring us to La Romana?
That brought us to La Romana, yeah.
No, I was just laughing because Matt said there's no stop signs. And it's funny because, Matt, when you told, I forget the guy that worked there. Who was the guy at the last day where we got his Instagram? Anyway.
Romeo or something.
Yeah, he was such a nice guy. So
awesome
we were
guy.
talking about stuff, and he was saying, he's like, Misha's is not the place to worry about. La Romana, he's like, everyone is insane there. And it's their big city, and it was like there's no rules. Matt's completely right. People are going down one way is the other way. And so finally we see a light. Matt goes, a light! I love rules. And somebody just goes whipping through the light. You just see a moped just say, fuck it. And he goes, yeah. And I'm like, there's no rules here, hon. Oh my God, that was so funny.
Oh yeah, because I saw the one red light and I was like, oh my God, I can breathe for a sec. Like some regulations here for a minute. And then right as I go, it's like, a couple more guys go through. I'm like, oh my God, no one listens to anything here.
Oh, that was so funny. So then we just kind of scooted through La Romana and we made it to a place. And this is why I think for us, the day outside of the resort was kind of such an interesting experience because we went from one side of it to a completely other side. So where did we go? What was it called? Casa something. I don't know. We'll look it up, but it was
you keep talking. I'll look it up.
It was a gated community. So we made it through La Romana and we were trying to get across because there's, I guess, one way to get through for employees. And we went over that way by accident. And again, a bit of a language barrier, but he's told us to kind of go this direction. So we went the other direction and we made it to this place where you had to go into a reception and you had to pay for a day pass. And I think it was like $60 for you to go into this place. You could use the beach. You could go to the restaurants. And at this point, Matt and I are like, well, we're doing it because we've kind of just gallivanted all over. What was it called, hon? Did you find it or no?
Yeah, I don't even know if we ever said it. It's called Los Cajueles.
Oh.
Like that was it right there. That's that giant gated community right there.
Okay, so I think what happened was you had found something where there was like an old, what was it called again? Like a
No, so basically there was like a big marina there. No, that I could see from Google Earth.
That wasn't it. You wanted to go to where Frank Sinatra had performed. That's what you found.
Oh, the Coliseum thing. But at the same time, I saw the giant marina, and there was all kinds of big boats. So I was like, oh, that'll be beautiful there. We'll go out for lunch down by the boats and everything.
So again, we had no idea where we were going or what was happening. And we went in there, and all of a sudden, like Matt and I drive around, and I'm like, where are we? Like these houses were so insane. So apparently Michael Jordan rents there, Jennifer Lopez, like...
everybody.
And the homes were just, it was like one of those places where I thought to myself, like, who are these people that own this much, have this much money, can afford this? Like some of the cars, like Matt's like, what is this car?
Yeah, no, there was a truck in someone's driveway that I didn't even know what it was. I was like, what the frig even is
People
that?
drive around in golf carts with their little puppy to get to their location. Like, so I think what was so fascinating for Matt and I was just going from one spectrum to a complete other spectrum, right? And just being like, wow, the way people live, you know, because when we were at Misha's and driving through, a lot of the way that they live. And again, the guy did say on the resort, and this is all such important information to hear. He's like, it might look one way to you, but this is how we live with that type of boarding and stuff for rain and stuff like that. So it's not like, it might look like poverty to you, but it's not. That's just how we build our homes, right?
I mean, it's poverty.
But you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, so like that's what they're familiar with, and that's normal for them. So again, I think it was just fascinating for us to be like, anyway, so we go from that location to this location where we see like, you know, white guys running and just like with their tops off, little 18-year-old boys with golf carts going by in these gigantic mansions. And we're like, what is it?
You made some comment when we were there. You were like, I want to come here and write a book or something.
I'm like, this is like, to me, because of all like the smut books that I read, I'm like, this is the perfect opportunity. Like I could come here and I could just like live in the moment and be like, okay, so what's happening? There's somebody that works here and then meets a guy there and they fall in love, and he's a rich guy and she's from the city. Like, anyway, it was just, that was wild. It was very beautiful. Very beautiful.
I find it really interesting because when we went into that gated community, it was almost like a fairy tale.
Yeah.
It was like its own little world that was sectioned off from everywhere else.
And
like you go in there and like,
I bet there's like teenagers that go on spring break or further summer or winter, whatever, and they all probably do I'm just, again, stereotyping, but they probably all do crazy parties and all this shit, and there's like a whole life in there and so much drama.
Sure
I bet you there's so much drama that goes on.
Well, all it is people with money looking for anything to do and blow money on. Like, like how much money do you think it costs to play golf there? Like Michael Jordan would be playing next to you. Like imagine the class of society that gets to just hang out with Jordan at a restaurant. Like,
like the server said that he had served them, I think, because then we ended, and again, like, generalizing is not good, but it's really hard not to do sometimes. And like when I went and sat there for lunch, and we ended up talking to the server, and he was
awesome
so
guy,
kind, so nice.
We'll throw a picture of this restaurant up too, because the food there was one of the best I've ever eaten in my life.
It was well, maybe
that brisket, man, that brisket freaking taco was the best brisket I've ever tasted.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
You're right. But, you know, like even, I guess, we were asking him about the people that come and that stay and eat the food here and like live and rent and stuff. And they're not all that kind. Not all of them. Some of them are, of course. But like I watched a group come in that had just come off the golf course and like they weren't even paying attention and just like weren't very nice. And I thought, well, that's not cool.
Yeah.
So hopefully that's not, you know, a regular occurrence. But it was certainly something out of the book, seeing that place. There was super, like, it's hard to explain. Like, there was a whole movie theater in there. There was a mall. There was, like, everything. It was like, exactly, it was like a world. It's like they gated you off, and there's your life. Live in there.
Well, and it's really interesting, too, when you go through the gates of these places, like, into these communities and through any of the, like, the toll stations on the highways and stuff. Like, they are heavily guarded.
Oh, yeah.
Like, Sheridan's sitting there trying to, like, scrummage around and get, like, a toonie out of your pocket or something, and there's a guy with a machine gun right next to your face. Yes. And then next to him is a guy with a 12-gauge shotgun. Like, these guys are, like, strapped up.
We asked that question.
Like it's a war zone.
There
or
was
something.
a reason. There's a reason why. Remember, we asked the guy on the beach, and is it also because there's a lot of people trying to come in from Haiti? He said, is that not true? Or he said there's issues.
Well, it's obviously moving a lot of like drugs and stuff around. Like, obviously.
No, but I think he said there's a lot of issues with people trying to come into the Dominican as well, like from other places to try and get in and live. Be. Yeah.
Well, and like even the police officers that are giving tickets out on the highway, like these guys are driving like 1,000cc sport bikes. Like these guys are ready for shooting and for in high speed chases. It's crazy.
Yeah.
Anyway, so we got back to the resort this day, and it was just something for me. Like I felt weird. I felt really weird going back to the resort. Like when you spend 12 hours driving around, what are you sighing for over there?
No, I was gonna say I know what you mean. Like you kind of walk back into this like pristine resort. Like that's just take away the Michael Jordan area and forget about that, and just relate it to like, you know, the everyday Dominican and the way that the people live. That's what I'm speaking on. And like going into this like fancy resort and like you just feel like kind of icky, right? You're just like, ew, like it's hard to explain.
Well, yeah, because you're going in there with these. You know, you go back to the resort after seeing how these people live. Like you drive. We're driving along the highway, and there's kids that are Theodore's age hitchhiking home from school, And like they're literally Theodore's age, and they're standing on the side of the highway with their thumb out trying to get a ride home. And it's not even like it's 1 minute up the road. It's like on a highway in the middle of nowhere. Little kids with no shoes on trying to hitchhike home. And you see these people that like, I'm going to make a few comments here, and hopefully I don't end up contradicting myself too many times. But like you see these people that like, from our eyes, have absolutely nothing. They have nothing. They have like a shack, and we were driving around on like a Monday or a Tuesday, and you're driving along and like mostly no one's working. They're just kind of like all sitting around. They're just kind of like sitting in fields and sitting on their porches and stuff like that. And there's just not really like much to do, it seems like, to us. And then you get back to this resort, right? And another thing that I want to point out too is like when you're sitting in a place like Punta Cana, it seems like you're in like a very like wet tropical climate. But when you leave those resorts and start driving through the mountains and seeing where they live, there's no water anywhere.
No.
Like there's no lakes, there's no rivers, there's no anything. So like if they're getting water, I can only imagine the quality of it or where it's coming from. So like they don't even really have water in some of these spots. And you get back to these resorts where like, there's just these all-inclusives where, and the people that work there are like, when they get off the resort and they're done putting their 12 days in or whatever, like they go home to those houses that are just like tin shacks with shitty water and like rags for clothes and everything. And then they come in here and they get in their little white outfits and like serve you the whole time. And it's like, I'll get another steak. I'll get another beer, like more. And then like, you don't even finish your plate. And it's like, I'll try this and have a bite of my burger and a bite of this and this. And then you're just like throwing all this food in the garbage and everything. And I can only imagine what these people think that work there, that are looking at us slight sleaze bags, just like consuming. And then we just like, they open up the big bulletproof gate and corral us onto a big jumbo jet, and then we fly out and leave their country, and then we come back the next year and do it all over again. And I don't know, like I'm proud of us for going out and experiencing that island and like seeing the people and like really like, not that we did anything wild, but we just got to like see like what's actually going on there. Like when we drove through La Romana, I mean, it was just like you get a good pulse for like the life that these people live and the sacrifices that they make and stuff. It was super interesting to me. And then it almost like, I don't want to say it ruined the trip for me, but like I just felt different after what I saw. And then, so then next, I'm laying there on the beach and I'm Googling like who owns these resorts, like all the resorts that we're sitting at, because everybody that works there, they're from Dominican Republic, like every single person. And then you follow the money tree up to the top of who owns all these resorts. And it's a whole bunch of white people that just own all of them. And then they come to these people's country and sure, they give them good jobs, but how much you want to bet they're getting paid next to damn nothing just to serve us when we all come to their island, take all their shit, and then leave. And I don't know. It's just weird to me. It's super weird.
So I don't actually know.
Humbling. It was a very humbling experience.
Yeah. I don't know the truth behind anything that you're saying, and I don't think you do necessarily either. Like, you don't know how much they make. You don't know. Like, you're just kind of assuming, which is fine.
Yeah, I mean, okay.
That's fine. No, I'm not trying to fight you on it. I'm just saying, like, we don't actually know how much these people make, how much they make in tips, stuff like that. And I do just want to say that, again, speaking to that gentleman on the end of the day, or the end of the trip, because this is the last day we talked to him, he told us that he works for 12 days on and then goes home, right?
Yeah.
And he said that their accommodations are really nice in the resort. And I said, are you excited to go back home? And he goes, I can't wait. So to you, it might seem like then they go off and they go home and then they're like, whatever. But to him, that is home.
Okay.
Right?
Yes. Yep. Yeah. 100%.
Right.
So glad you're saying this.
No, but it's very true.
Yeah.
So like, you're like, oh, we come here. And like, maybe he just is, it's very different for him. He doesn't even think about that. He just can't wait to go home and see his kids and live
absolutely.
where he lives, because that's what he knows.
Absolutely.
And I am also going to say that there's a girl here that I was speaking to not long ago, and she was talking about somebody that she was kind of seeing from the Dominican, and he now had a child here with somebody else, and he had said to her, if I could go back home, I would, but I won't, because my child's here and I want to be a part of their life. But like, I want to go back home to the Dominican, right? Even though Canada's here and it's all lovely and all the great things, like he wants to go back to what's familiar to him and what feels like home, you know? So
two, can I?
Yeah, go ahead. Mm-hmm.
So two things I want to say. after we talked to the guy on the beach, oh my God, I wish I could remember his name. It was like Rico or something. I forget his name. Super awesome guy. After we talked to him on the beach, that same night, because we added each other on Facebook and shit. And that same night, he was messaging me, seeing if I could help him get employment to Canada so that he could leave the island and come to Canada.
Yeah.
So, and that's not the first time that's happened with people that I've met on resorts that work there.
Yeah.
So sure, we can sit here and pretend that life's all like great and everything there. 3 hours later, he's trying to get me to get him out of the country.
Well, he had mentioned when we were talking that he did want to leave.
Yeah.
But yes. Yeah.
And so then a whole other point that I want to make that I'm so glad that you just said is it's all relative. It's so interesting because, I remember when we were driving along and I was like, how much you want to bet that guy's never heard of Chat GPT and doesn't give a shit about any of this stuff? Like the things that bring me worry in my little bubble of a freaking life in Canada. And then like you go down there and like they're concerned about much more like raw, like my problems to them would be like winning the fucking lottery every day of their life. Like, but it's all relative. And then you just sit there. And so while we're driving through these like busted ass towns, they're smiling and they're happy. And the kids at school are all playing soccer out there and laughing. And you can just hear the energy and everything around. And to me, I'm driving along and I'm like, man, like, holy shit, like beautiful terrain and everything. But like, man, these people, oh my God. And then I come home and I'm like, back to where we all have 2 cars and all of our food and the fridge is full and everything. And like, but I don't know what's better because it's like we've fabricated this life around us where there's just all this shit to worry about, just shit and more shit. And then you go down there and it's the simplest thing. It's the simplest thing. You probably don't even need to work every day of your life because there's nothing to really buy and there's nothing to even spend money on. All you really need is water, some food, and sex. That's pretty... I said that to the guy and he totally agreed. It's like, man, life's just so simple there.
Right.
It's island time.
It's very reminiscent of when I went to Africa. That was really the first experience that I had traveling somewhere that I saw what I thought was poverty and, children living in tents and at school, they're not wearing shoes and things like this. And I volunteered at the school and I've never seen happier children, doing dances, singing, making up games. So that's exactly it. It's all perspective and it's all relative. And like there's all those expressions like money can't buy you happiness, like things like that. And it's like, then I tried to explain it to the kids just the other day, actually, because, I'll tell you why, because we were driving back from your dad's and there was a gentleman, there usually is on that corner, anyway, and he was holding a sign and Theo's like, is that man poor? And I said, I imagine he's asking for, some help. And Theo goes, I feel so bad for him. And I said, Theo, and he had a perfect response. I said, that man could be just as happy or there could be somebody that's not happy that has money and this man is happier than them. It doesn't matter. And Theo was like, yeah, I forget what he said, but he said something like money doesn't necessarily make you he didn't say necessarily, but he said like money doesn't always make you happy. And it's, I don't know. Anyway, I don't know how to get to the point I'm trying to get to, but I think you see where I'm coming from here.
If you're fortunate enough to travel, it's one of the best things you can do. If you get off the resorts and shit, like going out and just seeing how other people live. Like Japan for me was very much the same thing.
Right.
Like when we were walking through Nagano in Japan, it was another one of those things. Like Nagano was a place where the Winter Olympics were in 1998. So it'd be 25 years ago now. Holy shit,
I know,
man.
don't say that.
25 years ago. Anyway, when the Olympics went to Nagano, they came in and like brought in all new transit systems and like even everything down to the manhole covers. Like when you go to Nagano, the manhole covers say like the sewer covers say like Winter Olympics 98 and they're all like engraved in all this stuff,
cool.
and all the billboards and everything were all about the Olympics. 25 years later, they still are.
Yeah.
You go there, the billboards are all like dilapidated and say Olympics 98 with the like shit ripped off of them, and the manhole covers are all rusty and say like
Right.
Olympics 98. The buses, buddy, some of them still are wrapped with the Olympic wrapping, like
wow.
all rusty and old and shit. 25 years of aging on this stuff. But it's like we come into these places and like you hear it with the Olympics all the time. They come in and build all these stadiums and everything, and then as soon as you exit the wall of the stadium, it's just like complete poverty.
Right.
And then they come in, steamroll through a place,
Yeah.
and then leave it, and then all these stadiums just whittle away to nothing. And it's just such a humbling experience, and it really puts life in perspective as to like how fortunate we are and should feel to just like have clean air and running water and fridges full of food and like, you know, like how easy it is for us to get fuel even just to put in our vehicles. Like down there, it can like there's fuel scarcity. Like if you go over to Heyyy, like you have to wait like 5 hours in a lineup to get like a spoon of gas for your generators and cars and shit. Like it's just, man, it's just one of those things where you just come home and you just feel so lucky and just blessed. But I don't know, you know, like, I don't know. Then you go there and like you said, maybe they feel lucky to not have all this shit in their life, be inundated with fucking emails 3,000 times a day and 7 days a week. I'm stressing about things and money and work and retirement planning and what are the kids doing and what activities and all that stuff. And then you go and then you look at their life and it's like, like what do they even actually worry about?
It'd be
like,
lots.
I know it's
Yes.
just it's so minute. It's so simple. It's just it's a real thing. They call it island time. It's just a different way of life.
Yeah.
So I'm not saying they don't worry, because I'm sure they're worried about food and water and stuff
Right.
too. But like they're not going to be sitting there worried about how many gigabytes they have on their cell phone plans and
Right.
is ChatGPT going to take over their desk job
Yes.
on the 75th floor on Wall Street. Like it's like food, water, and
Right.
getting a pretty lady.
Right.
Like.
Yeah.
And I don't know, maybe I sound like an idiot right now, but it's just a beautiful thing. Life is beautiful and it's amazing. It's so cool when you go around the world and just see there's so much more shit out there outside of your little house. And
Is there something wrong with your neck? You're kind of like.
I don't know, isn't there always
No, but I was going to say it'd be interesting to actually have conversations with more than just one person, like to really sit and talk to people that live in those homes that we drove by, rather than us just making assumptions, right? Because that's literally what we did. We drove around, we made an assumption on everything and everyone, and then came back and whatnot. But it would have been really cool to actually like get out and go into a house and talk to somebody and see what they do for the day and stuff like that, you know, because again, I know I keep talking about this guy, man, I wish I knew his name, but we were talking about, you know, him being a dad and with his children and how he like won't let him go and hang out with his friends because they're a bad influence. And I, you know, I can relate, right? Because I'm like, we have kids and we kind of do the same thing and stuff. So I don't know. I agree with Matt. Like traveling is such an incredible thing. And, you know, you look out your window at night and you think, and instead of just thinking of yourself, you kind of think like, where's everybody else sleeping? What's everybody else doing? And I think a lot of times for me, and I think I've kind of been this way my whole life, is that I get out there and I see things and it just makes me upset because like, what can I do about it, really? You know, like I can help in little ways and stuff, but it just makes me feel like I want to make a difference. Almost always. Like I've always felt that way when I go and I see somebody and I just want to help everyone, but it's like, how? What do you do? So then I just kind of shut off because I'm like, I don't know, like, you know, and because I'm like, what can you actually do? I'm not sure.
Well,
I guess I raised the question.
Do for who?
Everyone in the world that needs help. That's what I mean. Like there's people that are humanitarians. Like what do they do? And how do you feel like just doing one thing is enough? Because I feel like if I were to be like, okay, I'm going to do this. And then it's like, okay, but I could also be doing this, and this, you know?
Okay, you know, okay, this is probably like slightly off topic, but maybe it's relevant. You know, like, You know, when you go to the, like, even like the grocery store, or like you go to the mall, or even like a playground or something like that, and you get in like a good conversation with a stranger.
Yeah.
Just like a good one, where you're just like, wow, like, you're awesome. Like, what a vibe you are just to be around you.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and then you leave there a happier person. It like makes your day, and that might even bleed into the next day. You might even have 2 good days in a row just from like an awesome convo with a stranger. Just like extra pep in your step. Just spreading positive energy every day is helping the world a little bit. You know what I mean? I think it's underrated. I think talking to strangers is underrated. Like, I used to sit on the bus, sit with a stranger and talk to them every day. Just get on the friggin' number 52 going over to Dartmouth, sit down. How's your day going? Where are you off to? And just talk to people. And then you never know. You might just lift someone right out of the gutter and just be like, man, that was so cool. Just like they're walking away like, what a beautiful human. And then you say it, or like, you know, like even something as simple as like, oh my God, when you're stuck in traffic and you can't get out. And then you get that one person that's like, bro, come on out. Like, and they let you out. And I'm like, humanity, someone, yes. Like, and then I'm all in a good mood after that. It's just like, just going around every day. Like when you say like, what can you do on like a micro cookie crumb level, you can just spread being a good person to people. And if everybody did that, the world would be a way better place, a way better place. Instead of just walking around cranky, everyone all cranky all the time. It's like, I don't know, just like talk to strangers and ask them how their day's going and throw a compliment out. Like, how many times when we're going along do you see me like just throw like you have nice eyes, or like a...
I swear some people, when you do that, look at me like, are you okay with that? I'm like, thumbs up. Yeah, I love your eyes.
Oh man, and it's just like...
It's because it's such a rarity now that people are like, is he trying to hit on me or something? But
your dad does it all the time.
Yeah, he does.
Your dad's awesome.
He's a
for
classic 10-minute, 20-minute chatter and then go home and not
that.
talk to anyone.
I love that about your dad.
Yeah.
Your dad and I actually talked about this not that long ago. Your dad goes around spreading love all the time. It's great. It's awesome.
And it is really nice. And actually, I can even think back to a couple times when I was on a plane. And, you know, you never know. You're like, ugh, do I want to talk? Do I want to have my headphones in? Do I want to pretend I'm reading? And then you kind of get into the conversation. And I can actually remember a couple times where I talked to somebody the whole way. And I just left being like, you know what? I'll never see that person again. But what a great conversation. And, like, there's good people out there, you know?
Do you have nothing to add to that?
What?
Oh my God.
What?
I forgot about one of the coolest things of the trip.
What?
We're on the airplane down and we're sitting next to these complete strangers. Oh, yeah. And then I'm up there being classic Matt and shooting the shit, and we're laughing. I'm like, oh, you got a 4-wheeler and blah, blah, blah. And he's from New Brunswick and his girlfriend's awesome. And then they're a couple that they were going down with were like over on the other side of the thing, and we were all joking and all this shit. And then like, small ass world. You check your DMs or something the next day, and then come to find out that the people we were sitting with, their mom, that's the age bracket we're in now. It's the moms that know us. Yeah. But then the mom followed you, and then I check follows me, DMs me sometimes and everything. I'm just like, that's why you got to be nice to everybody out there, because like,
yeah, Matt, I tell you that all the time. You never know.
Small world,
and Halifax especially is so small.
Yeah,
it really is. Okay, so that was a big old roundabout chat about our trip, but we loved it, and obviously going off the resort was really important to us, and I think next year. And there will be a next year. Matt's kind of panicking because we have Lloyd now, and he's like, we can't do anything ever.
Can do nothing.
But we will go away next year, and I think it's just kind of up to us. Now that the kids are getting older and it's less physical, I feel less tired, and I think that maybe we could explore something else. But I will say that, like, for me, my favorite thing about the all-inclusive is not having to make a bed. Not having to clean any dishes, not having to I just get to do literally nothing and shut my brain off. And that's really lovely, because if you go and travel to, let's say, California, and you get an Airbnb, you're still making your goddamn bed.
It's so much doper,
you're still making food. Yeah, but you know what I'm saying? People aren't serving you.
And I don't know, but I feel like that's how you walk away having seen everything.
Well, I'm going to Fort Lauderdale with Daphne and Amanda at the end of April. You think that's funny?
My God, man. Happy 9 years, baby.
And we're staying at a hotel, but it's a hotel. It's not a resort, right? And like, I've never really been in that area, so I'm interested to see because, you know, we're also renting a convertible and like going to Target and like going out to eat. So I'm curious if I'm going to like it more than the resort vibe because we'll be like busier and doing things. So I'll report back.
Have you been to San Francisco before? I always forget
Once
this.
when I was like 12. So
Yeah.
I don't really remember it.
Oh, man. When Tim and I went to San Francisco, we stayed like 3 or 4 different places or so. I can't even remember now, but Tim and I were sort of all over the place.
Yeah.
That trip I'll remember that trip forever. I'll remember every detail of it.
Is that when you went to Yosemite and then it like circled back?
It was so cool. I saw so much shit. We went up to Yosemite and all through the mountains, and we were in snowstorms, and then like we went clubbing a couple times, like down to these random places.
I did not know that. No.
Yeah, just like random places. I remember one night we were like hanging out with the locals at this bar, and there was an Olympic hockey game on. It was like, I think it was literally like Canada versus Russia. Don't fact check this. It would have been like 4 or 5 years ago. It was coming down to the end. Like whoever was going to win this game was either like the bronze or going to gold or something. I can't remember. And anyway, we're sitting there and there was some people sitting at the table next to us, and the guy looks over. He's like, "What sport is this?" And it's like, it's hockey. Like they didn't even know this is San Francisco, and the guy didn't even know what we were watching. We're like, bro, this is like the gold medal game. But you just live in your life and think everyone gives a shit about your life when like people are over there just like a few miles away.
We're all so irrelevant. Like,
we suck.
Oh no, I just mean in the world. Like
there's so much out there.
Actually, this is so random, but have you ever heard of a sturgeon?
Yes,
Fish?
but what is it? Yeah.
Okay, so this just like there's just like certain things.
What are you talking about?
No, Matt. So just last night I was on Instagram and then I thought, oh my, these things live in Canada.
What the?
And buddy, some of them are up to 1,000 pounds, 800 pounds, and these live in fresh water places. And just like seeing,
what?
It was just a moment where I looked at this thing and I was like, oh my God, humans are so stupid. Like, look at that cool thing. Look at a sturgeon. It looks like a dinosaur. Like, how cool is that? And I'm like, but here we are being like,
this is...
No, but there's just like moments where you're just like, wow. Like, I don't know. I don't know if it's just because I'm getting older or what, because obviously when you're young, you don't think about anything like this. But like as you get older and just start to like look at the world a little more, you're like, holy shit, sturgeon.
No, I'm just going to come out and say it.
What?
That was the coolest thing you've ever said on the show.
Have you ever heard of sturgeon?
Comes out with, did you ever know what a sturgeon was?
Have you ever seen those before?
I don't know if I have, Sheridan.
Man. And people catch them, but they catch and release because they're kind of getting extinct. So anyway, whatever. Let's move on to Lloyd. Roundabout way. We'll see what we do next year. Excited either way.
Oh, no, wait. One more thing. One more thing that I wanted to say about San Francisco when I was just talking about that for a sec is like Tim and I went across the Golden Gate Bridge. Super cool seeing that. Like, oh my God, is that thing ever photographed well? Like you could stand anywhere, point your camera at, and it's crazy. So we go over to the other side, like, so San Francisco City's here, crossed Golden Gate, went over, and there was this place called the Muir Woods, I think it was.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
And that's where all those big redwoods are that are like 250 gazillion years old and everything. And like some of them actually have like tunnels through them.
Oh,
like
that's
you're driving through a tree. It's so big.
Oh, wow.
Oh, yeah, like 2-lane roads.
Did you get a picture of that?
Not of the car going through it, but I got lots of pictures in the forest. But it's just like life in the earth is so freaking amazing.
Right?
Yeah, it's so cool. The Muir Forest or Muir Woods, whatever it was called, was like one of the greatest things I've ever seen.
Yeah.
Like walking through there and like you feel like an ant. Like you're looking up the trees and you're just like, these things are just like erecting out of the earth. Like this is Mother Nature made this shit.
Yeah.
So cool.
So cool.
Yeah. Okay.
Do you want to talk about Lloyd? Like how much time
I'm
do
over
we have?
Lloyd boy.
Oh my God, Lloyd's cute. So people did say he should be here today. He's napping.
Oh, we'll bring him in next one.
Yeah, he's very cute. Oh my gosh, I've had an affinity for English bulldogs for as long as I can remember. Actually, when MSN was a thing, I remember it was my display picture. And I just loved them. I loved the wrinkles. I loved everything about
Shouts
them.
out MSN.
I think they're funny. I think they're funny. I do. I think they're funny looking. Like I just love them. I've also decided he's literally Matt in dog version. Needy. Lazy.
Oh, really? Did you say
Needs
lazy?
attention. No,
I
I'm
am
just kidding.
allergic to laziness. You better
No,
be
but
kidding
you
me.
know how I mean, like exercise wise. But no, it's like I got a dog as my husband. So what? Excuse me. What happened was Matt and I have kind of been, well, we'll both be honest and say we always have a little bit of baby fever around this time when, you know, our youngest is about 2.5, and we've kind of made like some little comments here and there, and then. And we go back and forth. Honestly,
Sheridan said a dirty one the other day.
no, but it's like Matt one day will be like, should we? And I'll be like, no. And then the next day I'm like, should we? And he's like, no. So we're never on the same page. And I think it's just because Matt and I both love babies so much and creating humans. And we're very fortunate that we were able to create 3 beautiful, you know, healthy children. And I think both him and I will always wonder, like, what if? And I don't think that will ever go away. For some people, it does. For some people, they're like, I want 2, I'm done. And as soon as their second baby comes out, they're like, that's it, tie me up, I don't want any more. I envy those people sometimes because I'm like, man, it'd be nice to just be like, no, I don't ever want a baby anymore. But I don't think we'll ever feel that way.
Oh, our kids are so incredible.
Yeah, but I just think that...
It makes it hard.
yeah, right.
Like, you look at Pickles running around right now. He's a freaking man. I'm just like, oh, God, he's cute.
So I think... So anyways... did it take convincing? Did it take convincing to get
what?
To get a dog?
Well, you've been working it for 7 years. You've been like, oh my God, you're always like, you're not even a dog guy. You don't even like dogs and everything. Finally, I heard it off. I was like, look, get a dog. Let's do it. All right.
So I'm dog obsessed.
12 hours later.
I've been dog obsessed.
LLOYD boy?
I've been dog obsessed for as long as I can remember. My parents did not get me a dog growing up. I was pissed.
Wow.
So I know. But they are a huge responsibility, and they obviously knew that. Like, dogs are a huge responsibility, especially in the puppy stages. And they knew that I wouldn't do anything. Like, are our kids doing anything? No. Sure, they're taking Lloyd out, like, to maybe pee and poop, but, like, they're not. It's not a guarantee. It's all falling on me and you. So anyways, Lloyd, it might seem very sporadic. Like when we were telling our friends and family, they're like, what is happening? So all of a sudden, you know, I'm sending a picture of Lloyd to everyone, but it has kind of been in the back of our minds for a while, my mind specifically. And Matt's,
Well, we had a dog before and ended up having to find a home for him because
you got
it
to
was
bring
just...
him up too, yeah.
Well, no, it's just like, just to put this in perspective for people, like we've already tried to get a puppy and failed.
Well,
And we've talked.
really, just let's have that huge blow here.
Yeah. Well, no, we
Can't wait
got
to see how you try and
No, I mean,
fix that.
look, here's what I'm gonna say. It came to an end. And we couldn't handle it at the time. You were pregnant and blah blah. Blah. But
That's it, blah blah.
you know. But we found an amazing home for him on a giant farm, and he lived a life better than what we could provide. We had him for like 3 weeks, and we were like, we're not equipped. This was a mistake, and went through great lengths to find him the best possible place he could live, and that's where he went, and is probably living the greatest life ever.
Your pin has been sticking out the whole time. It's driving me crazy.
It does stick out.
Goes, I know, but it's like, it's like jingling around. Anyway, what I was going to say was that, yes, we did have a dog for a moment. And his name was Theo.
We got rid of him and then named Theo.
Oh my gosh. Anyways, yes, that's a whole other story. But yeah, and so it was a really, really difficult decision when he left. Matt and I both sat in separate rooms and cried for like an hour.
Oh, he was amazing.
Kaya was less than a year. She was less than a year. I think what had happened was we moved to...
That doesn't make sense.
Yeah, she was not... We moved here and pretty much... No?
I don't know.
Well,
I
anyway...
thought you were pregnant with Theo at the time.
I'd have to go like back and look, but we moved here. I'm going to say out sort of into the woods. And, you know, Matt had mentioned, like, it's not a bad time to get a dog, you know, to protect us. And also just because we live out in the woods, why not? Like, what a great place for a dog to be raised. And it just wasn't the right time. And it was a really, really, really difficult decision. I felt like I was failing.
Okay, now you feel guilty, so you won't get off this topic. Look, everything's just fine. We got a dog.
Yeah, but you had to bring it up.
No, but you're over there, well, we felt, you know.
No, but now people are like, you got Lloyd, you
We didn't even cry in separate rooms. Yeah, actually, I think we did.
We did.
Anyway, give it up.
We literally did.
Everything was fine. We got him a great spot to live. And anyway, you've talked about getting a dog every minute of every day. And then finally, we got a dog.
That's a lot, Matt.
No, let's speed it up.
Here I was excited to talk about Lloyd, and you're going to blow it.
Oh, my
bringing
God.
up past moments.
Freaking 3-part trilogy over there.
My
just
God.
move along, bud.
Okay, so anyway, now we have Lloyd. And he's an English bulldog, and he's so cute. And he's going to be a lot of work.
Oh, my God. He's so much work.
We can certainly admit here that I'm the one putting in more work.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Like he's gonna end up probably being more my dog than anything.
Who does he lay on his back for?
Yeah, he loves a good back rub for you, but like, will you say, like, if we were to ever get divorced down the line, I would get the dog. Like, I can already see, like, that's the way it's going. Not that we're getting divorced, happy anniversary, but
yeah, oh my God.
No, but you know what it's
if
like,
we get a divorce, I'm taking the minivan.
No, but you know what it's like, who gets the dog? Like, it would be an obvious me. Like, he's gonna be basically mine with some belly rubs.
That's an interesting way to look at the animals in the house.
What?
If you get a divorce, who's taking the animal?
Well, yeah.
That's how you know whose it is.
Right.
You can have Lloyd.
Yeah.
I love him.
But he's mine. That's what I'm saying.
So the week where you don't have the kids, you'll still have Lloyd. Oh my God.
Oh, anyway.
Because that's the only good thing about being divorced. You get a week off every second week.
And that's not true. Everybody has, I don't know, but I know people have different arrangements. But yeah.
Sometimes I'm like, oh my God, should we get a divorce just for the week?
Oh my God.
Just in a week.
Go take a week. You know what, Matt? You know what actually pisses me off about Matt? Because here he is talking about me going to Fort Lauderdale, and he's like, the amount of times I say to Matt, like, leave, please, and then you choose not to. You disagree?
Buddy, you're kidding me. Like, what did the other day I was in working at the condos. I was in there for like 3 hours one night, and like, you use it against me the next day. You're like, oh, you wrote last night. It's like, oh God.
I think Matt and I both have a bit of a tendency of using quote unquote thing. Just the other day, Matt was supposed to go to a basketball game with just Theo, and then Kai wanted to go, and then Sage is very daddy obsessed right now, so he was crying and crying.
Loves his dad.
And of course, I said to Matt, don't bring him. And Matt's like, no, I'm bringing him. And I said, do not use this against me later.
Oh my God.
And you said, I won't. And you know what happened?
What?
Then I was up brushing my teeth just the other night, and you said, you told me not to use it against you, but I had all the kids at the basketball game.
No, but like, come on.
No, but like,
no, like, I just want you to brush a kid's tooth. And then you're up there fussing with it. And I'm like, but I had the kids all day.
You can't say that. I said, you can't use this against me. You said, I won't.
Getting a divorce on our 9th anniversary.
That I actually think is parents' biggest issues.
Yeah.
Is they just use shit against each other. And like, it's always a one-up of like, who's doing
our
more
relationship's
stuff.
Not a one-up.
I didn't say us.
Just because you're traveling every 35 days. I mean, we're not using that against you.
So doesn't it count when you're going up to the cottage for your birthday for 2 full days?
Okay, first, I've never gone up for 2 days.
Yes, you have. I tell you to continue to stay there when you're hungover.
You can tell me I've never done it, though.
Yeah, so you just come here and fuck off on the bed for a whole day. It's a write-off.
Sheridan, when was the last time I was at the cottage? I'll wait, because it was the Jurassic
But
era.
it's you. It's your problem.
Yeah, that's fine.
It's a you issue.
What are we talking about right now?
Happy anniversary. I don't even know what we're talking about right now. I love you, hon.
Why don't we talk about your seppuku the other night? No, seriously.
What were we fighting about? Oh my God, I thought we didn't fight.
We were asleep or something.
Oh no, this is a big old argument, guys. I'm not trying to pretend it wasn't.
I don't even know what you're talking about.
So Lloyd was lying on the bed with us. Don't worry, we got a crate. So now we're going to start crate training him. And Matt like looked over like, if you guys knew Matt, like I know you get to know him a bit here, but he is the most dramatic person I have ever met in my life. You are. And like to Matt, and I think this is where Kai gets a little bit of it from, where she goes to the extreme with everything. So for example, Lloyd's lying in the bed for like the second night, the actual second night. It's not like Lloyd's been around for 4 years and Matt's complaining. This is night 2.
That was not night 2.
It literally was. And Matt goes, I've seen this before. I remember it now. I'm like, what are you talking about? Because he had a dog with his ex.
I've had many a
Milo.
dog, yep.
And he goes, I remember now. When we got Milo, our sex life just went down the drain. And we never had sex again. And I'm like looking at him. I'm like, are you okay? And you were simply not okay.
No, it's just like, buddy, we've been in a little bit of a rut anyway.
Oh, my.
No, and then like the other night, you over there turning your neck around. No, and then the other night you come waltzing upstairs after being gone for like, where were you? I had all the kids and the dog.
Oh,
No, where was that?
I was downtown.
Oh, yeah. I got everyone asleep and everything. And then you come waltz in. You don't even look at me, and you look at the dog, and you're like, hey, sir. And then,
That's a kid called me, sir.
Oh, they're rubbing his nipples and kissing him and everything. I'm like,
rubbing
can I get a kiss? Or like, there's chopped liver over here?
You're literally jealous of Lloyd. It's ridiculous.
100%.
Matt. So
He
where
goes,
was
hey,
I going with this?
Hey, sir. I'm like, can I get a hey, sir? Like, oh, my God.
So then Matt's crying tears on the bed about Lloyd being in the middle. And anyway, so I'm like, okay, well, good night, man. Good night. And you like roll over and you're like scrolling on your phone. And then next thing you know, okay, because I had a bit of a sore throat.
Oh, my God.
Okay, because I had a bit of a sore throat, I had a sepicol and I was lying on my back and I choked. And Matt, who watches way too many scary movies, literally thought I turned into the Exorcist. So he's mad at me, and I start making these noises, and he's like, he actually thought I turned into a zombie.
No, but for a split second, like, I'm laying there back towards you, and then all of a sudden I hear, like, and I look over, and just you like jump up out of the bed, you're like, and then I jumped up, I'm like, what the fuck? Like, I thought you literally turned into a zombie. I was like, man, what are you doing? And you're like, you got a sepicol weight down your throat.
The funniest part is like, this is Matt's like fantasy that like somehow I turned into a zombie and he has to like fight.
No, immediately has a knife in his hand. Everything.
Gets into action. He's like, I've been waiting for this.
Here we go.
This
Running
is my
to Costco.
moment. Yeah. Oh my God, that was ridiculous.
Costco
Okay.
warehouse. That's where you gotta go. Zombie apocalypse.
Really?
It's a full warehouse, no windows, food and supplies forever.
Don't give it away to everyone.
No, you barge the doors off. No one can get up. You have rooftop access. Everything's there. Get to Costco.
You've literally thought about this way too much.
Oh yeah.
You think?
I
think it's gonna happen?
I kind of want a zombie apocalypse to happen. I want to see if I can do it.
Okay, so Matt and I are really happy to be back. We will be recording next week. Let's commit to it. So
Yeah.
we'll be doing it.
Handshake.
We don't have a handshake, unlike you and your daughter.
We can shake hands though. Are we recording?
Yes, we
Okay.
will. If you guys missed us, hope you did. We're happy to be back. We've had some great times, and in the upcoming weeks, my spokesman, in the upcoming week, we'll dive into all sorts of other stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, it's been wild.
Yeah, it's been a wild time.
Wow. Like and subscribe. The last time I said it, everyone did.
Yay!
Appreciate it.
At least somebody listens to you.
Happy anniversary,
Not
babe.
Lloyd. Yeah. Happy anniversary. I love
It's
you.
the Two Gems Podcast.